Oh, y'all see me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Luke, you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Nice.
Okay. Cool. All right, guys. Yeah, I think we're rolling. So let me get some light on me a little bit. Well, not too much. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll just hop into it since we're rolling. All right, guys, welcome to the AXCAST. This is the Tuesday, April 18th, 2023 version of the AXCAST. Luke is with us now, so we'll get a little game 2 preview for those AXCAST listeners out there. Eric and I recapped game 1. Go subscribe, go listen to it, leave comments, everything for the game 1 recap. But we'll send it to Luke since you missed yesterday. What are you expecting from the Grizzlies? How will they adjust? Well, actually, first let's just give Jaren a little props for winning DPOY real quick, because I think that's really probably the biggest news right now. Just a little bit. Yeah, Luke, go on for Jaren DPOY.
Yeah, well, first let me say excellent job in the first AXCAST. I just watched it. It was a great recap with the exception of that one interstitial ad from Caleb. Other than that, great points. Maybe sad I missed it. I love talking Grizz hoops. And then, yeah, congratulations to Jaren. As soon as we drafted him, you could see he was going to be a great defensive force. And, like, what a season for it to all come together. I thought he could have won it last year also, but wasn't in the cards. But it's like the first year you're deserving, you're not going to get it. It's like the second year, then you really get the credit. So it's what an awesome year for him. And like what's really cool is his offense is like amazing now also. Like I think you can make an argument that he's our best offensive player right now. So really proud of Jaren, and I'm looking forward to what he does the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Eric, yeah. I hope this gives our team a little morale boost. I think it will. Jaren was, all year we saw how dominant and impactful he is when he's on the court for us versus when he's not. Just how much of a defensive force he has been. And it was just good to see that we were just all the late last minute hype about Evan Mobley or Brooke Lopez. It was good to see that was all just kind of water under the bridge, like that when the results came out, it wasn't even really close, that Jaren was highly touted as the pretty much unanimous defensive player of the year. So hopefully this gives our team a little morale boost headed into game 2, and I'm excited to see how Jaren continues to progress.
Yeah, I agree, man. Eric broke the news to me right as we got off air yesterday. But it was good that we got to save it and talk with Luke. But man, I was just so happy for Jaren. Couldn't have gone to a better human being, better person. Obviously, everybody's seen the video of his mom celebrating. All the balloons. She's just so happy for him, and his dad is he's great too, and he just comes from a great family. Such a kind heart, such a jovial and just positive human being. So I think Jaren's my favorite Grizzly. He has been for a while. It's no slight to Ja. I'm just saying, I just love Jaren. I love what he's about. He works hard, and he also likes to have fun and give back to the city as well. So man, I'm just so happy for Jaren. Yeah, like Luke said, probably should have been a little bit more contention for it last year, but at least last year he got first team all defense, led the league in blocks last year as well. This year, led the league in blocks again with 3.0 blocks per game. And I think that was the most in the NBA in a decade or something crazy. And also the league leader in stocks, blocks and steals. So yeah, that was a great season, great defensive season for Jaren. It really catapulted the rest of our team. I mean, we even saw it. So when Jaren was out for the beginning of the season, he's still recovering from that foot surgery. The defense was horrible, but bottom of the league, horrible for that first, couple weeks. And as soon as Jaren came back in, like 15, 16 games in, he was able to get us right back on track. And we finished, I think, with the second best defensive efficiency in the league, maybe third. But yeah, it was, I mean, there's no question Jaren was the best defensive player on the team. And I thought it was no question he was the best player in the league. So couldn't have gone to a more deserving player. So happy I went to Jaren. And he wanted it so bad. And most players aren't like outspoken about wanting personal awards like that. But Jaren was like pretty outspoken that he wanted it. And man, it was so great to see. So, but moving on, guys, we have got a pivotal game 2 tomorrow. Game 2 back in Memphis. Still unsure whether we'll see Ja. We can get into that if y'all want. But yeah, Eric, what are you thinking? I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but we're saving it for right now. What should we expect from the Grizzlies in game 2?
Yeah, so I mean, on the surface, it's pretty a tough question to answer just because of the uncertainty around Ja Morant's status. Today we saw pictures of Ja at practice, and I know Taylor Jenkins spoke with the media. I don't know if Ja did, but they were basically saying he's a game time decision, that like there's no fractures. He just has like a certain level of pain tolerance he's going to have to deal with, and depends on how he wakes up tomorrow. My personal opinion, I do not think he's going to play, and I don't think we're going to need him to play. I think it would just be a lot smarter with how the rest of the schedule is for the series. We get a nice long break until game 3 again. So I think that we're fully capable of being able to win without him. And, trying to force him in there where, he hasn't even been the, best version of Ja Morant that we know anyways. I feel like trying to just force him in there in the game 2 could really, have some negative effects. I could be wrong, but that's kind of my take on it. And then, I kind of did a little bit of a dive into the Grizzlies' performances in games like this, whether it was game 2 against the Timberwolves last year after losing game 1, game 2 against the Warriors after losing game 1, and in that game 5 that me and Caleb were both in attendance for against the Warriors, where our backs were kind of against the wall. It was pretty much a must-win game. And looking at those 3 games, game 2 against the Timberwolves, we won 126-94 after losing game 1. Warriors game 2 was a lot closer, but we still won by 5 points. At times we had bigger leads in that. And then the game 5 against the Warriors, we won 134-95. So those are 3 wins in scenarios where the Grizzlies kind of have their backs against the wall at home early on in the series. And so I think the precedent is there for the Grizzlies. I think we're definitely going to go out there and give it our all and act like it literally is an elimination game. Whereas the Lakers, I don't know if I fully buy into the narrative that the Lakers are already satisfied with splitting the away first 2 games. It's like I've seen a couple people try to make that argument that, the Lakers already got the job done, and they're probably not going to be as energized as the Grizzlies, which that may be the case, but I don't know to what extent. I think that the Grizzlies are going to come out and play really hard and hopefully figure out some of the things that they need to figure out to flip the script. So that's kind of like my overall opinion on it before we get into any like details and stuff.
Yeah, I agree, Eric. The Grizzlies did seem to respond really well after losses last season. And I think that's it's a testament to Taylor Jenkins' adjustments coming off of tough losses. But it is disappointing that we always lose the first home game of every series. Yeah. I always hate to see that. But I am expecting a big response tomorrow. Still, we're not sure about Ja Morant, but I'm not going to say that it would be better not to have him. There's certain times when I think like offense is going through a tough stretch and Morant's all we have to really get us going. Y'all were touching on this in the last AXCAST, so I don't want to talk about it. Y'all already talked about it, but I don't think Morant is really being like, he's not himself. I'd say he's more like being a little bit more deferring to Jaren and Desmond now that they're like they've come into their own more. I think he's still himself. He can still go crazy when time calls for it, but that's not necessarily what this team needs now that they've grown. And if he plays tomorrow, it'd be great, and I think it would really be useful to have him. But since the Grizzlies went through that long stretch without him through that suspension, there's like 9 games he missed. Previous AXCAST, I said it was really a blessing in disguise to like help the other players grow. And now that they've done that, if he's not playing, they're prepared. They've had to do this, and they had a winning record during that stretch. And like, I think if I remember right, a very winning record. So I think it would be great to have Ja, but I'm not like super concerned about winning if he's unable to go. And I think it is a hugely important game, but even if whatever result, believe Memphis, like if they lose, you still can't count us out. I think that they're never going to be, even if it's 3-0, I wouldn't lose hope. So I'll just keep that in mind, I guess. It would be really tough to lose the first 2 at home.
I like that mentality, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you, Eric, that, people are kind of talking about, the goal in every, every away team's, in the first 2 games of the series, the away team always wants to split the 2 home games, right? And, if they just get that split, then, they did their job. And I'm not buying into that either. I think this Lakers team smells blood in the water. And hopefully that's not the case. But if nothing else, this Lakers team wants rest. I mean, they've proven that by getting a bunch of rest. 3 games in between 1 and 2, and then they'll get another 3. In between Wednesday and Saturday for Game 3. So this Lakers team clearly wants rest, and if nothing more than that's enough motivation to end this series quick and therefore take Game 2. So I do believe we'll still get a motivated Lakers team. The status about Ja, I've been able to go to 2 Grizzlies games since like going back this year. The first game that I went to is the Kings game, one of the 6 losses that we had at home. I went to, but Ja was he had sprained his ankle in the game before, and everybody was thinking up, a couple weeks. I think at least several days, at least going to miss the next game. Walking into the arena, get the notification, Ja's going to play that night. I think you were there too, Eric, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not, but
I think I was like sitting somewhere else. I think with my family or something.
Yeah,
maybe.
But so Ja's just kind of freaky with this stuff. Obviously, we know, we heard the thing, Payne's 10 out of 10. Couldn't, we all heard their report like he couldn't undo like his socks. So like he had to get somebody to do that. But, Ja kind of he's kind of freaky with this stuff, man. Like he kind of gets over these injuries in a weird way. We've already gotten the report, it came out that he was doubtful for Game 2. And then we already got the report from Woj today, just a couple hours ago, that he's a game time decision. And which I thought was interesting, by the way, because, the front office, as I've said multiple times, they don't like to share any sort of injury information, nevertheless, like for a playoff series that would give the opponent any sort of advantage. So I was really surprised to see that Woj was able to get a hold of that information. But yeah. And like Eric said, I'm not sure. I mean, I'd love to have him, but I'm not. It's weird because I think that we can still beat this Lakers team even without him. So I hope he's healthy. I hope he can be able to play. But ideally, if we could take this game, win Game 2 without Ja, so Ja can get the extra rest and not play again until Saturday, and we go to LA with 1-1, then I think that's great. So
yeah, and to kind of clarify what me and Caleb were talking about yesterday, Luke. Yes, I still think like physically Ja Morant is Ja Morant. I think it's more of mentally, like his body emotions on the court, his demeanor, just it doesn't seem like he's having as much fun at times. And sometimes I just feel like he's been a little more turnover prone than I remember him being. Now that could just be nitpicking. Again, he had that couple incredible sequences in game one. And I'm not saying that if we had the chance to play Ja Morant, we shouldn't, because obviously at his best, he's our best player. But again, we're not going to know behind the scenes how serious this injury really is. But I think in this scenario, you don't play him unless you think that he's going to be Ja Morant. And if this injury is going to have to deter him in any way out of the, way he plays the game at all, then I think it's not worth it considering how pivotal this game is. And just because of how lucky we are to have a point guard like Tyus Jones. Maybe we do play Ja, we bring him off the bench. I wouldn't mind that, because when we tried that earlier in the year, when we brought him back in from suspension towards the end of the season, like it worked. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I think his physical ability is still there. It's just he's still trying to get back to believing in himself and having the confidence and swagger that we all know is there.
Yeah, I agree. I know I had some more things written down. I think I sent y'all as well. Was there anything else that we needed to touch on regarding game 2?
I was just curious, like, Luke, are there any like matchups or adjustments you were looking for from Taylor? Are you looking at more Roddy minutes, less Aldama minutes? Are you thinking more Kennard usage, or what are some of the things that you hope that the Taylor Jenkins switches up?
Well, the biggest thing I think is assuming Ja's not going to play. That's like a very large chunk of minutes that just have to go to someone. Like, who's he going to be? Like, could be Roddy, but then you're like, he's not the same type of player as Ja. So, like, I guess obviously Tyus is going to have to play more. Probably Bane's going to have to handle the ball. But, like, it's just going to be different from that point of view if we don't have Ja, like, even from a minutes perspective. Like, another thing is, like Bane said in his interview, like, I don't think they're going to abandon the game plan after, like, crazy I'd say fluky performance from Hachimura. Like, let's see if he can do it again.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, he shoots like less than 30% from three, I think someone said.
It's like 28, 28 and a half or 29.
Right. So, I mean, like, they are open shots, but
You want
like, the law averages, like, he's going to regress to the mean, like you'd think. So, like, I would like to see them continue. Like, if you get beat by Hachimura and Austin Reeves, like, not missing a single shot in the fourth quarter again, like, I'll tip my hat. But if I get beaten by LeBron James and Anthony Davis because we decided to lock up Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura, then I'm not going to like that. If that makes sense. So I kind of agree with Bane. I don't think that Hachimura will continue his hot shooting. I don't think Austin Reeves is him.
He's really good. He's really good, but he's not like that. Was just pretty like exaggerated in such a small period of time.
Like, yeah, like, I was in my room like going bananas because, like, Austin Reeves was just not missing in that fourth quarter. Or
23 points on 13 shots.
Say again?
23 points on 13 shots.
Yeah.
Most of that in the fourth.
Some nonsense. So I'm going to agree with Bane on this one. Like, I think that the game plan was solid. I'm not the coach, so I'm not in charge, but if it were me, I would try to keep that going. Like maybe you mentioned it, Eric, like don't try to attack Anthony Davis from an offensive point of view. Like I'm sure that was not the plan, and that's kind of how it worked out. But maybe this time they'll like try to go away from that. Obviously, like
I
Van
think I'm on
Gundy
the same page.
talking about that all the time. Say again.
I was gonna say, I think I'm on the same page as you. I think there's probably not going to be a lot of game plan changes. I think we're going to see some personnel changes, especially if Ja's out. I'm curious to see how Santi's minutes are allocated, if that gets increased or reduced. Because he was kind of, I think it's probably going to get reduced because he was a defensive liability. But man, we got to find a way to get Luke Kennard some shots, because if we're getting Rui Hachimura and we're getting Austin Reeves, we're going to have Luke Kennard out there shooting more than 4 attempts. And I said on yesterday's episode, like, there's no world in which Tyus Jones and Dylan Brooks, or Tyus Jones and Luke Kennard, should have less combined shot attempts than Dylan Brooks. That cannot happen. And if we continue to play the game plan that we implemented in game 1, we're going to have scoring. We're going to have 3-point shots falling. And Luke Kennard's the best at doing that. So I'm interested to just see how the rotations change, but I do agree that I don't think the overall philosophy is going to change on how we match up against them.
I think we're going to see more Roddy minutes. I think we're going to see less Santi minutes. I think we're going to see more Conchar minutes, or just any Conchar minutes. I think he logged I think he checked in like the final seconds. But I think we'll see Conchar for the purposes of rebounding, because like we talked about, rebound's good for his size. So he's just going to have to make some shots. I mean, if Conchar is going to be in there, he's going to have to be able to make that drive and kick 3 that he'll get from, if it's Ja, then it's Ja, or Tyus or Bane. He's going to have to make them. And likewise, we're going to have to get more shots for Kennard. Tillman has got to, I mean, it's hard to say, because I feel like Tillman could have been more effective if he just didn't get into foul trouble. You know, I feel like he got 3 in game 1. He got 3 fouls really quick. But I mean, Xavier Tillman's been a playoff hero before, and I don't think it's far-fetched to say that he could have a big game in game 2. So we'll actually go ahead and transition into this, because I wrote it down, and I think I asked you guys like last week, who would you guys say outside of Ja, Jaren, and Bane is going to have the biggest game in game 2 for the Grizzlies? What's that player that's going to have to step up in order for the Grizzlies to win?
I already know what Eric's going to say for this one. He's been saying.
Let's go with Luke then.
Tillman, I think, was a good answer, Caleb. But I think, to me, the obvious one is Tyus Jones. If you don't include him, because I'm assuming Morant's not going to play.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, Caleb, he does have like some great healing ability. But even if he doesn't, like, he's not going to be fully unleashable, because like there's no way he's not going to be hampered even a little bit. So I expect Tyus Jones to really have to like step it up. I'm not saying he's been just his role because Morant is not 100%. And we all see like how great he is filling in for Morant when he's injured. And we all know that he should be a starting point guard in the NBA, and we're like lucky to have him on our team. So I can see us winning if Morant doesn't play, but I can't see us winning if Morant doesn't play and that Tyus Jones doesn't play to the full extent of his ability, which I expect that he will.
Yeah. I really like the Tillman answer. I think that's going to be my second place vote behind my obvious Luke Kennard answer, that you could have seen that coming from a mile away, like I was just talking about. But I just think that whenever we make it a point to include him in the offense, whether it's like, it doesn't even have to be him getting shots. Like, he's shown so much on this team when he just like is on the court and his presence is there, and we like hand him the ball at the top of the key and like set screens through him, how much players collapse on him, and he can make a shot if they leave him for some stupid reason. He can dish off and make a good read. And so, I mean, I think it was the first quarter where he got all 7 of his points. There was like a little 2-minute spurt where he hit a 3. He gets a long rebound, comes back, hits like a mid-range shot. Then he gets the foul line at some other point in the quarter. And then just the rest of the game, he only got like 2 more attempts and just disappeared. So, because he's that guy that could just flip a game on its head, like the Rui Hachimura 4 threes in the third quarter. We saw Luke Kennard hit 10 threes in a game, and he got taken out early. So if he hits, we don't need 10 threes, but if Luke Kennard gives us 4 or 5 threes for the whole game, which is very reasonable, if he gets 8 to 10 to 12 attempts, like I think he should every game, then I think this just adds another element to the Grizzlies team that makes us even harder to defend, because we know Bane's going to have to go get his, which Bane, he scored like 20-something points in game 1, but he wasn't really efficient, wasn't hitting his threes at his, usual rate, very inefficient field goal stat line as a whole. So we're going to need another guy. Tyus, if he's the starting point guard, he's going to have to increase his shots, but just having another scorer to come in and facilitate the offense, I think is going to be huge.
Yeah, I already said Tillman. Yeah, I mean, because he was starting. He was our starting center. I don't know if they technically had Jaren at the center, but whatever. I think that if it's not Tillman, I think it's got to be Roddy. It would be my answer. Roddy's going to have to – I expect him to get more minutes, like I already said. I expect him to be guarding LeBron at times, so we're going to have to see that big body Roddy, and as Pete says. And he's going to have to be able to make those corner threes. He wasn't making them in game 1, and he's going to have to step up and knock them down. So he provides that energy. He's going to have to fill that BC role, right, as far as like energy off the bench. That's something that we've kind of missed since BC's been out. So, yeah, I think Roddy's going to have to step up, have a big game, play some defense, rebound the ball, make some shots. And I think if he can do that, then the Grizzlies are going to be in a great place. So, yeah, we'll see. Like we said, Tyus is also an obvious answer as well. And Tyus has been the hero in the playoffs for us too. He hit that shot in Minnesota. What was that, game 3? Game 4? I can't remember.
That was to close it out in like game 6.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. So game 6. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll hope for the best. And like I said, and also just something real quick, I think D'Angelo Russell was killing us for a little bit in that third quarter. He kind of got overshadowed by Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves, but for a while there in the third quarter, it was D'Angelo Russell doing some damage to us. So, he's such a killer for us because, we played him in the first round last season too. He was with the T-Wolves, but he didn't. I don't know. I just didn't think he really fit within their offense that well because they're not, slow pace like D'Lo is, but he kind of fits in a little bit better with LA, and he's, we're kind of seeing that. But anyways, game 2 tomorrow night. Is it ABC or is it TNT?
I think it's TNT.
TNT. TNT again. So hopefully the Grizzlies can stick with the game plan, I would say, and then hopefully we get a different result this time around. And I'm sure we'll be back for a post-game recap or at least game 2 recap at some point. Let's see. Any other topics that we want to hit on?
Do we want to discuss the some of the other games going around the league and how that could impact things, especially in the West.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, I think the obvious one is the most entertaining series in the West right now, and to move on, then it would be play, and that's the Warriors versus Kings. So, what do y'all think about that series?
I do.
It's crazy. This is the first time we're seeing a team out-warrior the Warriors. A team that most teams that play the Warriors are like, all right, we just cannot let them get out and run and play at a fast pace. And the Kings are like, oh no, we're gonna run faster than you. And they want to play the game at an even faster pace. And man, they just have so many good pieces that offensively, just obviously De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, and off the bench, Malik Monk, David Mitchell. They just got so many guys that they're filtering in and who can defend. I mean, they're in the regular season, they were a really bad defensive team, but at least so far in this series, they've been doing a really good job of like committing to playing defense and rotating and making life very hard for Steph and Clay, and Sabonis being physical down low in the paint and getting Looney in foul trouble, at least last night. And I mean, the Kings, it's going to be really tough to go back to Golden State, but man, it's been fun for sure. And I'm rooting for them, but I don't know what the Warriors got to do to figure out their road woes or whatever, but the Kings just feel like they've been here before. When the Warriors are the team that's been there before, they look like they're having fun. They're disciplined. They're not doing a whole lot of stupid things that you'd expect a young team to do. And I'm excited to see how the series unfolds.
Yeah. I think I don't know if y'all remember, but I totally predicted that the Kings would sweep the Warriors in the first round on a few AXCASTs ago. But
well, it'll be easier now. It'll be easier for us to follow up on these takes. So
yeah, that's right.
On record now.
Yeah. So I if I didn't say it, I knew I thought it, but I'm pretty sure I said it. But
likely story.
That's quite you.
That's what I would say.
Anyway, I actually missed. I was studying last night, so I missed game 2, but I saw game 1, and yeah, it's really exciting. I love watching the Warriors lose. Sacramento looks like they're doing a great job against them. Like, I want to say like that the Warriors are a weaker team this year than they were last year, because I think we could have beaten them as well. Like, I don't think we're worse than the Kings is my point. But anyway, before we start worrying about the winner of that series, though, we better beat LA. But it is like super fun to see Sacramento beating them. It'd be fun to see anybody beating them, but it's also, I'm especially happy for Sacramento after so long of waiting for those loyal fans. So yeah.
I take back my Kings slander that I had a couple AXCASTs ago. It's been fun watching them win. Light the beam, everything with that owner, and just that whole team. It's been really cool. That crowd, electric. I mean, even from the beginning of the game, chanting, all in the game. So reminiscent of the Grizzlies. It's cool to see that. They're going to have the coach of the year and Mike Brown. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to Taylor, but, honestly, can't. I mean, I hate it that I won't go to Taylor, but you can't not give it to Mike Brown. And I think that he's kind of proven that he is the coach of the year in this series so far. He's come out, and the Kings have had pretty solid game plans from the little that I've seen. But real quick, what do y'all think about the Draymond stomp? Any opinions on Draymond?
He broke
Yeah, broke the code.
Broke the code.
I don't like Draymond personally. This is not his most like scandalous event.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like, I think this is just getting a little overblown just because of how like great of a game it was. I mean, they both like him and Sabonis both were like out of bounds with their backs turned to each other, and Sabonis like came up and like hip bumped him and kind of initiated something before that happened. And then, I mean, Sabonis clearly grabbed his leg. I mean, I know he said he did it, but he did. And then Draymond did use his chest as a human trampoline and jumped off of it. But I don't think in the moment of how quick everything transpired, I think they were both, it's just been a double technical. I don't think, as much as I don't like Draymond, I don't think he should have been suspended or ejected from the game, excuse me. But when you have that reputation, everything is just going to be viewed under a microscope, especially in a pivotal game like that where everyone's watching. So I think it was a little overblown, but you know, it is what it is. It's Draymond. I'm not too mad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen him do much worse, but I do want to point out, like, there was a play down the stretch in that game 1 where like Draymond just like totally laid down top of Sabonis also, and just let Sabonis get back.
Yes.
So, like, if you're gonna be mad about that, then like that's pretty hypocritical, don't you think?
Like, yeah, just lays on. I remember watching that. I was like,
yeah,
why?
Like, man? So
yeah, no, and no, honestly, like the same. I kind of had the same reaction, Eric. I'm no Draymond Green fan. If nothing else, for his feud with the Grizzlies in recent years. But you know, this is not. You know, when I saw that, I was kind of just like, as much as I am not a Draymond Green fan, I thought that was kind of overblown a little bit. Like, yeah, clearly Sabonis grabs him. It was excessive. I thought definitely a technical, probably a flagrant 1. Flagrant 2 is kind of maybe. It's kind of pushing. I think the reputation of Draymond Green is kind of why he got that. I mean, in playoff series, was it a playoff series when he kicked Steven Adams on the Thunder, you know, between the legs?
Oh, yeah.
That was a playoff series. So, you know, his reputation precedes him. And so, I don't know.
Did he get a technical for that?
I think he received. I don't want to missay, but
wouldn't
like,
he like be suspended if he got a technical? Because he was at an odd number, wasn't he? We checked in on this at the end of the other AXCAST.
I want to say
that how it works.
Technical for it later, and was that why he was suspended in the finals, or am I wrong with that?
I don't know.
I know Draymond Green got a controversial technical that caused him to miss Game 5 in that 2016 finals.
Yeah,
it's like, I don't think it was from that Steven Adams kick actually, but anyways, he's had a long history of having technicals for a long time. So
I think if he didn't we say if he gets one more, he misses a game? I thought that was like.
That's what we thought. That's what we thought. I don't know how it worked for the playoffs, though. I think for sure if it was the regular season, that's how it would be. But I don't know if there's new like little stipulations for it being the playoffs. But
maybe it resets or something like that.
Maybe.
We kind of. I mean, some of these series are already like 2 games in. But did y'all want to do? Pretty much annually we go through and predict the playoffs series by series. Would y'all want to run through that, even though we're kind of behind the 8 ball there?
Yeah, we can do that. We can have like super accurate predictions now that we've seen all the games.
Yeah. So, whichever one of y'all wants to go, give us a rundown. West, then East.
Basically, kind of a cookie cutter answer for the West, in that I got most of like the favorites that you would suspect. I've got in the Grizzlies series. I think we could still get it in 7. So I've got Grizz in 7. In the Suns Clippers series, I still have the Suns winning in 6 games. Let's see.
Suns winning next 5.
Yeah, Suns in 6 is what I have for that. Nuggets and Timberwolves, I've got Nuggets in 5. Warriors Kings, I've still got the Warriors in 7. I think that the Kings are not going to be able to get a game. I mean, I think if there's a do or die game 7, I think the Warriors, you give the edge to them that scenario.
You think the Warriors are going to win?
Look,
I don't know.
A game 7 on the road?
They haven't won any games yet.
But we do, like, at the end of the day, it's the Warriors. They've been to these scenarios. All it takes them to find 1 or 2 little matchup nuances or slight adjustments that the King can't handle. And the Kings have kind of played. I watched the full game last night. The Kings played, like, at the beginning of the game, they weren't shooting well, but for large stretches of that game, they were the more dominant team by far. Like, by far. Warriors were turning it over like crazy. Curry was turning it over like crazy. Warriors were out of sorts. And the Warriors were still right there. With 5 minutes left, it was a tie ball game after the Draymond ejection. The Warriors were right there. And so the Kings are going to have to keep playing perfect basketball, although I'm rooting for them. Like, going into Golden State, I don't think they're going to be able to take it a single game on the road. I could be wrong, but just them handling a road playoff atmosphere, I don't see that going well. And then in game 7, anything can happen. I can't pick against them, unfortunately. And then for the next round, it would be Grizzlies Warriors. And I'd pick the Warriors in 6, unfortunately. That's where I am right now with that. With no Steven Adams, I mean, we're going to get Kevon Looney to death on the boards. We'd just be having to climb an uphill battle. That'd give Andy Wiggins a whole couple of weeks to continue to get involved in their system and reacclimated, and he hasn't been playing super well yet. He had a couple good moments last night, but once he gets back to his full self, he was giving the Grizzlies fits, and I just can't see us winning that as of now. I hope I'm wrong, but and then it would be the Nuggets versus the Phoenix Suns. I'd have the Suns winning that series in 6. And so it would be a Suns and Warriors Western Conference Finals, in which have the Phoenix Suns advancing in probably 6 games. I'll say 6 games. And then moving over to the Eastern Conference, I've got the Bucks in, I'll say 6 games. Just because that first game was a fluke, that the Giannis got hurt and the Heat stole. So I still think the Heat will snag one other game.
Well, is
so
Giannis
I think that. What?
When's Giannis coming back?
I'm pretty sure he'll be available for game 2.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think I saw that. Knicks Cavs, man. It's jail ball, so I don't know how that's gonna.
Isn't that game tonight, I think?
Yeah, game 2's tonight. I mean, Josh Hart might not play, though, so I wouldn't be Cavs win tonight and even it up. But this series is like literally prison ball, like bodies flying, low scoring, bruises, broken body parts, just mud
Vintage
ball.
Knicks series.
Yeah.
Knicks
So,
for the
as much as I've tried to get into the Cavs, and I've enjoyed watching the Cavs more since I'm up here in Ohio, I think the Knicks are just playing better basketball. So I'll pick them in 7, but I mean that's a coin toss in my opinion. I think that's going either way. So I'm going to go with the Knicks, but I regret that already. But I'm not confident in that at all. Sixers Nets sweep 4-0, and I'll say Celtics Hawks sweep 4-0. And so the next round, Bucks and Knicks, I'll say the Bucks win in 5. And then I'll say Sixers and Celtics. This might be a little controversial. I think the Sixers can potentially win that series. I think it's going 7 no matter what. But a game 7 in Boston would be pretty hard for the 76ers to win. But I don't think it's great. I pick the 76ers to win that series. Celtics are a great team. I just think that the Sixers have a lot of, like, Tyrese Maxey being able to come off the bench is huge. Like the Celtics are deep as well. They got Brogdon. They got what's his face from the Spurs. Why am I blanking on his name? Derek White. Oh my gosh, that was bad. They just have a lot of guys. They're really deep, but something about that team just doesn't sit right with me. Reese, I don't think there is, in my opinion, I don't think they're as good as they were last year. Like, I don't know why I think that, because they're still a really good team this year. But I think part of it's just because of Jason Tatum, in my opinion, just has too many games where he just puts up Dylan Brooks stat line. Even though he does have some unbelievable performances, he'll just have a random game where he'll shoot like 3 for 19 or something ridiculous and just shoot them out of the game. You know, they still have Jaylen Brown and Al Horford and Marcus Smart, so they're still a really good team. But I'm picking the Sixers just to go against the grain. And then, so that would be Bucks and Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'll take the Bucks in 7. And then that would be Bucks in Phoenix Finals. And Chris Paul will not get a ring again. He will never get a ring. Will never happen. Not possible. And the Bucks will win in 6 games. My drop.
Nice. I don't know if I agree with all that, but I'll starting in the West, I guess I'll do mine. I think Denver sweeps for sure. I'm a huge Denver, so not fan, but what's the word? Like I trust them to win. Believer, yeah. Next series, I think Phoenix is going to lose. Maybe that's my against the grain, but also they already lost 1 game, so they only have to win. Clippers only have to win like 3 more, and they have home court advantage now. So, Sacramento's going to sweep Golden State. Said that already. Memphis is going to win in 5. Going to the East.
Grizzlies in 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't think the Grizzlies can win in 5?
I think it's possible, but I can't say that quickly. Like you said, like do it under the rug, and we're moving on to the next series.
Well, they're the Grizzlies. They're the best team.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like
also,
it.
They have Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is gonna have a good game. I didn't say him for that question earlier, but just when he's like start to lose hope is when he has his best games. So just wait for that. The Eastern Conference, the Heat have earned a lot of my trust through the years, so I think that they can take it to 7 games. but they'll fall just short to Milwaukee. The prison yard game, I agree. I think the Knicks looked much better in the first game. Obviously, they won. Cleveland, I think, needs like a few more years before they, or at least one more year before they can like win a series. I think Brooklyn can win 2 games actually against the Sixers. I don't trust the Sixers that much. The Brooklyn Nets have been like surprisingly good since trading away their good players. So I'll take Brooklyn to win. Brooklyn, I mean not to win series. 6-6. Excuse me. Boston, I think will sweep. And do you want me to like fill out the whole bracket like you did? I can do that.
Whatever.
Okay. Grizzlies sweep the Kings. Denver will sweep the Clippers once Paul George gets healthy. What's next? I think New York Knicks will be able to beat Milwaukee and beat the sleeper team to make the conference finals. Milwaukee's not ready for their physicality. I'm just kidding. Next, I think Boston will handle Philadelphia. And I don't think it'll be like a complete like shutout, but I don't think it'll go 7 games. Like the Celtics are so deep and like so good. All right. Conference finals. Grizzlies sweep the Nuggets. Who's Boston and the Knicks? Well, I think it would be easier to beat the Knicks. So I think the Knicks will win in 7 games. And then the Grizzlies will sweep the Knicks.
Some bold predictions there from Luke.
Dude, how are you able to predict like the second like the conference finals? They haven't happened yet. I'm just filling out the bracket.
The prediction.
Yeah.
I just went on like some app and filled them all out while y'all were doing that. So yeah, I'll just go down the line. Start with the West. Denver sweeps Minnesota. Yeah, they're kind of in a dumpster fire right now. And we talked about their whole play-in thing.
Mike could win them 1 game.
I think they can win a game, maybe 2.
I give them a sweep.
Maybe it was too harsh on the.
Did you see the stuff that came out today about that game 1? Where, like they were saying that the Nuggets knew every single play they were running, and like it was a close game for for a decent portion of the first half or whatever, and then it like flipped on its head like immediately, and it turned into a blowout. And like Karl-Anthony Towns was saying, yeah, they figured out all of our plays, and they knew where we were going to be before we went there. And so I don't know what that was all about, but I like Minnesota when they're playing good. Now they don't do it every night, but I think they can win a game.
I'll alter mine also. I think they could win a game.
I'm going sweep. Going sweep. You guys can't persuade me. and I'll probably be proven wrong, but it's okay. I'm gonna go Phoenix in 6. Like Eric said. Yeah, I just don't think Russell Westbrook can beat this Phoenix team. I think Chris Paul and I mean, saying that you can rely on Chris Paul in the playoffs is a bold statement, but Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, this squad has been to the finals without Kevin Durant. So, yeah, I think Phoenix in 6. Sack, the Kings, going Kings in 5.
Wow.
You know, this
I said Kings in 4, and you weren't that smart.
You predicted us to sweep everyone to the finals.
and sweep the finals. Yeah. Our only loss is behind us. I just don't see the Grizzlies again.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, man. Light the beam, baby. I don't know. What can I say? I don't like the Warriors. Maybe they turn it on, but they've never been down 0-2 before. Not to say that they won't win one, but or even win the rest of the series. They probably will because I predicted the Kings to win. But hey, I'm riding high. Light the beam. Grizzlies versus Lakers. I'm gonna pick the Lakers in 6.
Are you kidding me?
You guys know me. I'm always
Yeah.
I'm always the pessimist, and I always got to bring us down. So, I mean, we've already talked about it. I don't know, man. We're the young team. We're talking about LeBron James. We're talking about the guy has more playoff games played than our entire roster.
You said Anthony Davis was the best player.
Yeah, I mean, he's also won a championship too. So I didn't say LeBron James. I didn't say he was the best player, but he's also got
last AXCAST.
No, I said Anthony Davis is the best player.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, and LeBron, he's got the experience, and it kills me to say it, but I don't know. If I say this, maybe the opposite will happen. Hopefully. Then we'll go in the second round. I'll say Denver over Phoenix. I kind of just said that you can trust Kevin Durant in the playoffs, but this team hasn't been together that long. They just don't have that many games played together. And am I predicting an injury from Devin Booker, Chris Paul, or Kevin Durant? Maybe, maybe not. I just don't think the Suns are a great health bet, and maybe this is the Nuggets' time to go deep in the playoffs. I know they've been to the Western Finals, but
Michael Porter Jr. is just a better Kevin Durant.
Well, that's not true. But moving on, Sac versus LA. I'll go Sacramento. I'll pick them in 6. And I think they'll be able to outrun the Lakers, and I don't think it would be too hard for them, to be honest. But then it'll come to a screeching halt with the Nuggets. I think they'll just kind of slow the pace down, muck up the game, and I say that the Nuggets will take that in 6 as well. I think the Kings' youth will start to show then. But props to Mike Brown and that Kings staff. Hopefully they can get to a Western Finals like I'm predicting. And then on the East side, I'm not going to act like I'm super tuned into the East. I really haven't been that locked in with the East. I'll say Bucks in 5 because, like Eric said, that game 1 is probably a fluke. Now, if Giannis is injured, then that's subject to change. But if he comes back and he looks all right, then I'm just going to say Bucks in 5. I'm going to say Cavs in 6. Is it because I just can't stand these Knicks fans that are calling Knicks in 3? Yeah, it is, and that's okay. Well, and also just the Cavs have just been the better team all season. I thought in the East it was really 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's kind of a huge drop off between the rest of that Eastern Conference. I thought the Eastern Conference was very top heavy this year, being Bucks, Boston, Philly, and the Cavs, and then I thought it was just kind of everybody else in the East, and I think that the Knicks will. I don't know. I just like the Cavs. I like their defense. I like Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell shows up in the playoffs time and time again. So then we'll say, so Cavs 6. I'll say Sixers sweep, Boston sweep, I'll say Philly in 7 against Boston in the second round. I'll say Bucks in 6 over Cleveland in the semifinals. Bucks Philly Eastern Conference Finals. I'll take Bucks in 7. Bucks versus Denver in the finals. I'll have Giannis getting his second ring. So
it's good.
That's it. Yeah. There anything else we want to touch on?
No, other than it's just a crime that we have to wait this long for game 2 to happen after game 1.
That actually worked out well for me because I have another test tomorrow that I need to study for. So if I had to watch Grizz today, then I'd be toast.
I just have a lot of anxious, nervous energy, but we're gonna win. I think it's gonna go 2 ways. I think we're either gonna win decisively, like by 10 or more. I think we lose a close one. That's my prediction.
You think we're gonna lose?
I think we either win decisively from start to finish. We're just the better team. We're more energy. But without Ja in a close game, I think we lose.
I think we win.
I'm predicting we win, but I do think I think we win by like 12 or something. But if it's a close game, I'm not very confident. And just because we haven't had a lot of close game success, especially how game 1 went down the stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that end of game 1 is going to fuel us to be like really motivated, at least at the beginning of this next one.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be tuning in tomorrow night to watch the Grizzlies play game 2. Hopefully we get a better outcome than game 1. Well, I guess we'll talk about maybe doing a game 2 recap. If it doesn't go well, maybe we ought to let our emotions cool down before we fire up the mics. I would not have been a pleasant hang if we were to recap game 1 right after. It would not have been good AXCAST podcast content. Yeah, we'll see. I think I imagine we'll probably be watching the rest of the playoffs too, and provide updates as well. If y'all be down, we could maybe even keep going. The Grizzlies will go all the way to the finals, according to Luke. But even if they didn't, I'd be down to just keep on going, giving some analysis. But anyways, anything left you guys wanted to say before we wrap up?
I think that's it for me.
Me too.
Cool. All right. Well, Luke, glad that you could join us again. And this has been the AXCAST. And this has been the AXCAST with Luke, Caleb, and Eric. Signing off for now. We'll see you guys probably tomorrow night. See y'all.